Okay, sitting here consuming food in the morning, which most people would call breakfast, but I don't really call it anything. Okay, sitting here consuming food in the morning, which most people would call breakfast, but I don't really call it anything. I call it eat what I'm hungry. Whatever fucking time of day that is, that's what it is. But I just got back from the beach doing movements. Something came into my head before I go into the office to do full Zoom evals and plans. I wanted to, for the next 5 hours, I wanted to lay this down because this is important. The concept of feel when it comes to injury, not plain fucking water, is critical. And I just caught up with Vladi, the only other person in training and rehab I trust, located in Illinois. We caught up for like the last 6 months in a good total of like maybe 4.5 hours, talking about a bunch of stuff, and this topic came up. And there are two things that I experienced over the last 6 months that I'm going to share in a podcast, injury-wise. Pushing myself so hard, testing it, things like that. Body letting me know. It's the basic concept of injury, letting me know I'm not prepared for my environment. Done. And if I do it right, which I will, I should function at a level higher than before, because that's the whole point of injury. And I am. And when it's complete to the level that I think, I will go ahead and share my process and some of the things that I've learned, because every single injury is an opportunity. Every single symptom that you resolve, it's your body's a way of getting your attention to change. And when you change, what did you learn, or how did you level up? And so the concept of feel, couple points here. When you experience a situation where your body's letting you know that you're not prepared for the current environment that you're putting it in, that's called injury. Even a car accident. Some people walk away from car accidents, some don't. Why? Because they couldn't handle the amount of force involved in that environment. They couldn't adapt to that level. Falling off a building, stepping off a curb, getting down, up and down off a toilet, or surviving a fall. The body gets your attention with feelings and sensations, emotions as well. It's to get your attention. The magnitude of the feel triggers the level of healing appropriate. So think about this now. If we try to distract ourselves from that pain, or if we try to hide what that sensation is with anything outside, anything medicating, anything outside you, bring in body workers, bring in all these fucking passive treatment people. If they're doing something that you change the way you feel in that immediate, you are now not healing as ideal as you were before. It's going to catch up and continue to go. But basically what that procedure did, because the body doesn't like stop healing, we get in the way and it appears to slow. It never slows. It's just one speed moving forward. We just get in the way or don't get in the way. That's why aging is bullshit, and the whole concept of regeneration and regenerative medicine and PRP and stem cells and lasers and all that other shit is just bullshit. So you need to feel to a magnitude that you're supposed to heal to. Another thing with injury, you'll go about your day, because you're not just going to sit in a cave and go through the inputs of movement greater than an emotional input, intellectual, spiritual, mental, physical input greater than what caused the damage in the first place, and you're just hiding out in a cave while everything heals. We have to live this life because we choose to. So there's going to be certain movements or certain experiences that you're going to get a feedback response of that damage, and it's going to tell you right there. And that's when you go in and go, oh, you just became familiar with how that area is involved in this arbitrary thing called doing dishes, or vacuuming a floor, picking up a bag, or getting into a car, or taking a step. God, my wrist is involved in taking a step. Or man, my feet are involved when I'm putting on a hat. You start to raise your body IQ and your connection. You don't need a fucking body worker to do this. It's you. You are the body worker to connect that if you allow yourself to feel. So that's one of the biggest things with this whole feeling thing, is when an injury occurs, how involved that body part is, or that area is, in everything you do. That just blows me away. And those were some of the two aha moments that Vladi and I were talking about in this recent one. Another thing, that feeling and those sensations guide you as to what you are to do for yourself in order to put yourself in a position to heal greater than the level that you were before the injury. Because before the injury, you were not a prepared individual for the environment that you're choosing to be in, period. So when you do this right, you will be at a level greater than before. If you don't, and you choose passive and you choose comfortable and you choose feel good, you're going to decline. And that's what everybody's calling aging, or calling chronic, or calling dysfunction. It's not dysfunction. You're just in the way calling it that. So now here's the deal. If we go ahead and do something and get a pain response, now we're like, I can't do that. Fuck this. And then you just shut down the whole thing. No, you need to figure out how to move or how to work within that sensation. But what we choose to do is go put on an oil, go do an herb, go get some body work done, go get some trick, go take some over the counter, go get an injection, go get a cortisone, go get a stem cell, go get a steroid, go get something so that you don't feel. And the payout is, and the justification is, well, I'm doing this so then I can move, because when I move, I have pain. Then you're not supposed to move to that magnitude. You're supposed to change how you move and why you move, not block it out and then just go steamroll back in. Or I'm going to put on this special shoe because my feet hurt when I walk, therefore I can keep walking. Right, TJ? Injured, keep moving. No, not at all. Not even close. So that's another importance of the sensations that we have. And it's not always pain, but the sensations, as I've said, pain is not the only vocabulary word the body uses. Wait. Sorry, I forgot the last point. And it's important. So pain brings your awareness to an area of the body that you're going to see how it's involved in your life, in these arbitrary, no big deal movements or no big deal events. And you'll see that there is nothing that you do that isn't a big deal to the system. But I'm only moving a centimeter. It's not a big deal. Tell that to your brain, and then tell that to a paralyzed person who's coming out and will heal themselves. So we got to put weight where weight is due. And one of the feeling is the pain and the sensation that come with injury, and a healing response. I think that's one of the greatest guides. And the next one, not blocking pain when you go to do the real work. Pain to a level is going to trigger a level of healing response. If we never feel it, or if we trick it out, or we block it, or we try to hide from it, or we try to distract ourselves from it, being able to process, because it is just perception anyway, but being able to process it with you going into it, feeling it, that's way different than you just being, I'm going to meditate my body away from it. You never, ever want to do that. And then finally, because there's people who have sent me emails who wanted to start up with a full Zoom eval and plan, one and done plan for them to take and go with. And they were like, I was waiting for the pain to subside, or I was waiting for my injury to get better before starting with you. And that's a big no-no. You want to hit it real time, right when the body is talking the loudest. That's when the body is speaking the most, and you want to go listen to it and talk with it and engage with it and jam with it and have a party with it. But the whole concept of, I just don't want to waste my time with you, TJ, because I have pain and there's nothing I'd be able to do. Ask some people who have come into these appointments with pain. We do more and we hit it more. And the concepts of it and the realizations that they feel on day one is huge. And that's where the magnitude is, not the what. I don't have secret exercises that only I have, because that's stupid. It's bigger than that. So the power of pain with injury, it's a big deal. It's something that's very, very exciting. And I'm going to share these last two in a podcast when I get there. But this last little transition bit is the one that takes the longest and is the most critical. The beginning, getting to the point where you feel better, that's fucking easy. But it's getting to the point to where I don't ever have to worry about any of this shit again. And then for those of you people who are like, you get injured? Of course you get injured. We're not claiming invincibility. But when you operate at a level that's so high and you go have this confidence and you go seek out life and you go challenge and challenge and challenge, body will tell you at some time. But we've got this thing in our holsters called fucking common sense, natural laws, and grit. And when we put ourselves into those positions, those injuries are just opportunities to get better. I'm going to be the one movement rehab training person who doesn't have a trick anything. I'll guide you in your movement capacity, but I still have that trick ankle. So we'll just bypass that. But I want you to do it though. Or I have that trick wrist or that trick back. I don't understand that. Heal it. What's wrong with you? Okay, power of pain, power of sensation, power of the feels. Very, very, very critical. Stay tuned for that podcast and never stop moving.